Hi, welcome on to Arsenal Fan TV, and we've got a special show today. I've got Mo in the studio, super fan, and Mo, listen, the whole reason why I wanted to chat to you today was about this whole banner thing, this big controversy about the banner. We saw after the game against West Brom, this banner that was held up that said, "Thanks for the memories, Arsenal, but time for you to go." It was held up even though we'd won the game. Arsene Wenger had to answer questions after it. A lot of fans very, very upset with the fact that that banner was held up. But then there's also been a lot of fans that are like, no, fair play to the guys for holding up their banner. They've got a right to protest. And you was kind of scathing about it in your interview after the game because you felt that it was totally inappropriate. But also I know that you've also done campaigns before in the past where, you know, you wanted to sort of make it be known at the ground that you was unhappy about things. So where do you stand on the whole thing? Is it right for someone to be doing this after we've won a game? We've got to be behind the team. Where are you on it?
Well, like for me, I think I'd halve this conversation into two separate parts. The first part being, you know, the obvious one, the whole Wenger in, Wenger out, is where do you stand and is it right to put that banner out there saying Wenger out? But the second one is freedom of speech. You know, is a fan who pays their money to go into a ground entitled to voice their opinion? If we take the second part of that conversation first, I don't really think anyone can argue that a fan isn't allowed that freedom of speech. You can chant what you want, you can say what you want, you can wear what you want, you can take what you want.
Is it getting beyond the team though?
No, but that's a separate part, isn't it? But in terms of freedom of speech, one thing I don't agree with is that someone does something and you start giving them abuse, or you think that it doesn't make him a proper fan. You know, you might have the opinion that they're misguided in what they're doing, or that it's not for the benefit of the team, but freedom of speech exists. It's the laws of the land. It's the country that we live in, and that's what makes, you know, people fight for it. People give their life for freedom of speech. So let's not take freedom of speech away from people. You're entitled to take a banner into a ground, but the thing that I don't like about it was that it was very disrespectful, in my opinion. It singled out a man who's got a huge amount of ability and has achieved great things for our club, and it undermined him and made him the subject of ridicule, in my opinion. It really didn't sit well with me that he's just gone away to West Brom. We're having a tough time of it, and this is like the positive result that we need in the league. When was the last time we won a league game? It was Burnley, I think. We've finally got that positive result in the league that we need, and this has come out. And instead of talking about the positives about Cazorla's performance, about Welbeck's goal, about the impact of Koscielny, he's being asked to defend himself about a banner. And, you know, Arsene Wenger's a great man. And I just felt, you know, I just didn't like the fact that he was being asked to defend himself in a press conference. This is going out nationally. You know, the people that held up the banner would argue that that's exactly what they wanted. They've got the exposure that they wanted. But I personally feel it doesn't give Arsene Wenger the amount of respect that he deserves. Because one thing that you've always said...
Would you say that maybe some of those guys who held up that banner might be looking at it and saying to themselves, they're frustrated. They've been trying to get their point across for a long time now that they're very unhappy with the manager, and it falls on deaf ears. So they're like, we got to do this now. You know, we know it's going to be controversial. We know that some people ain't going to like it, but just like protests in the past, we're going to do it because, yeah, it's gonna stoke the fire up, and like you said, it has. And
yeah, exactly.
That's the reason why they've done it.
We have to face facts, right? That you're never, ever going to be able to canvass the whole of the fan base for their opinion and get everyone to agree on an issue. There will always be people that will be upset if you do something. The thing is, the question that we should be asking is, was this for the betterment of the club? Was this actually a positive thing to do? In my opinion, it wasn't a positive thing to do. Because let's say, for example, just, you know, put the example out there, Arsene Wenger sees that banner and goes to...
Yeah, he saw it.
Yeah, well, he did, yeah. And then what if he goes to the club and says, you know what, I saw the banner, I'm going to hand in my resignation?
Would they be happy? Those people who wanted to put the banner up, they would achieve what they want.
But would they be happy? Because the next game, the remainder of our season, would it improve our chances of achieving what we want to achieve this season or not? And that's why I think it wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right place to do it. You know, one thing that I admit I actually do respect them for is that they weren't just acting on emotion and reactionary. They took that banner there and they said, regardless of the result, we're going to bring it out. It wasn't a case of, all right, we'll only do it if we lose. I think that's cowardly. I think it's actually commendable that they have an opinion and they stuck to it regardless, because you shouldn't be changing
by doing that,
after one game.
By unveiling it after a win, have they not undermined their campaign? Because there are people who are going to look on it and say, well, how ridiculous. You know, fans from other clubs as well, they're going to look on it and saying, what's the matter with these Arsenal fans? They've just won a game away at West Brom, straight after a Champions League game, which incidentally they won as well, and they're holding up a banner. What a bunch of whinging idiots.
They would argue, Robbie, that this isn't about one game. It's about many, many years, and I can understand that. But I just think at this point in the season, with the Christmas run about to start, we really need to be getting behind the team. I just don't think it was the right time. I would not want Wenger to leave at this stage. If they did this in the final game of the season, I could understand it a bit more. For me, it'd be more palatable, because it'd be a case of, fine, they're making their emotions known, but it's actually at a time where it would be a sensible time to replace a manager. If I was to ask you, when's the best time to replace a manager, you'd say, you know, when the season ends, so he's got all summer to do his transfer activity to work with the team. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. I don't think it was conducive to helping Arsenal Football Club by doing that at that point. You know, regardless of defeat or victory, I can understand people saying, we won, why are you doing it? But as I say, you have to respect the fact that they've got their opinion and they're going to back that regardless of just a certain 90 minutes, because that's too reactionary for my liking. But it's not for the benefit of the club at this stage.
You done a campaign. We spend. Was it we spend? You spend. We spend. We spend. I'm sorry, I always get it mixed up. We spend. You spend.
You spend. We spend.
Well, you did a campaign, right? And listen. So you know that it's very difficult to get the board or the manager or anybody who's involved out there to listen to your opinion. How do fans get their opinions heard by the powers that be above? How can...
Yeah, well, save up, buy a share. Set you back 15 grand. But it is very, very hard. And then, you know, we have to say in reality, the easiest way to make sure your point is heard by the powers that be is match days. That's when they're looking. That's when the cameras are there. That's what's created the talking point. Had they done this, you know, just on a random Thursday evening outside the ground, no one will be talking about it. So this is the best time. I think that's a fact, and this has kind of proved that. But, you know, it comes back down to, what is it for the betterment of the club? And that's the thing that gets me. If it's not for the betterment of the club, I'm not going to support it. If it is, then I can get behind it. But in relation to that question, that is the perfect time to do it at a ground. It's just not the perfect time in the season to do it.
Well, listen, guys, we want to get your opinions. What did you make of the banner? It's caused a lot of controversy. In case if you haven't seen it, we'll put it in the links. But what did you think of the banner? Do you think that these fans have got a right to protest and they were right to put it up regardless? Or do you think that they were out of order? You know, we're there to support the club. The club have just had a victory. The players are coming over to celebrate with the fans that have travelled. And to see this banner is very disheartening and very off-putting to them, and, you know, causes a lot of disunity as well between the fans. What do you think? Leave it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV. And thank you very much, Mo, for coming along.
No problem.
This is Arsenal Fan TV. Looking for a gift this Christmas? Then check out the AFTVstore.com for all the best gifts. Listen, you can get original T-shirts like this, or like this one, the one I love, the Sanchez one that's flying out the shops. If you want a hoodie, if you want a jacket, scarf, kids stuff, women's stuff, no matter what you want, everything is there for the Gooners. So check out AFTVstore.com for all the latest gifts. and a big Merry Christmas from everybody here at Arsenal Fan TV.